Placement logbook 3B is very, very similar to 3A. There is just one slight difference. So for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to cover section D, which is where all the observation checklists. So you can see observation checklist is pertaining to the cluster for this placement, which is cluster 5. And on this page here, you can see apply principles of wound management is the unit of competency. And the same as the previous placement is the wound checklist. So we've incorporated the wound checklists in the placement 3B book, just in case you didn't get an opportunity to do a wound while you're on your rehab placement. You will obviously get a chance to do that in the acute setting. Ideally, we'd like to get the placement, the observation checklist done as soon as possible. So if you're in the rehab setting with your book 3A, get it done then. But if not, it says down here, these wound observation checklists are only required if you didn't do them at that placement. So if you didn't get them ticked off, you might have got one ticked off, so one simple wound, and you still need to get 2 more. So we need you to use this book when you go to your acute placement. It's so that there's different facilitators marking you off in the different book. So that's the same. The only thing that's very different here is the pre and post-op checklist. So you'll be required to do one of each and a reflection for each of those. So one pre-op patient and one post-op patient. That should say post-op. And just to be mindful that pre-op can also, like if a person's going to have a day procedure, whether it be some sort of investigation around a medical imaging exam, for example, or having a barium swallow or something like that, where they have to be fasting or they have to be prepped for those kinds of things, they're acceptable because they're procedures. So anything that's invasive is fine. So if we scroll down, obviously the wound checklists are the same as in book 3A. So that's the same, and same with the reflections. And this one here is the pre-op checklist. So obviously it's preparing one person for theatre or for a procedure, going through the processes that have already been explained in simulation labs. So, you know, making sure the consent's completed, making sure that they've been fasting if that's required for the required amount, making sure you've done all their observations, those sorts of things. And again, the reflection. So we're in the acute setting. We want to see how your pre-op preparation went for that person. And then we want the post-operative care. So were there specific things that you needed to do for that person? You may need to do specific post-operative obs. You may need to have monitored that person's wound or dressing or whatever it might be, as well as obviously communicating and assessing the person ongoing. You will need to do a reflection for both, obviously again for the post-op, you've already done the pre-op. And so then this next table is the same as in book 3A, which is the medication administration. And this is only if you didn't complete these 3 administrations whilst you're in your rehab placement. So as it says there, the medication administration observation is only required if not completed at subacute. So if you administered oral medication, you can leave that one because that will be completed in your other book, but these 2 will need to be completed. Okay, so it's very simple. It's just the same.